Hello everyone and welcome to Key Skills Tutorial 4 in the SE 4030 module, Key Skills for Chemists. This tutorial may also be watched by students on other programs because there are some useful skills here in terms of searching for literature, how to review a scientific journal article, and how to cite the literature. So, as scientists, you will spend a lot of time reading and critically reviewing information, working out whether or not it should be referenced in your coursework or dissertation. And this aspect of practicing science is really, really important because we need to critically review journal articles and reference them because it adds weight to any arguments that we may make in a piece of coursework or another scientific article. And it also allows us to keep on top of developments within a particular field. Scientific writing then is very different from other texts. So you may all be very familiar with novels and magazines and newspapers, but the way in which we write in a scientific manner differs quite heavily. When you look at research papers, you will see that they follow a fairly well-known and consistent format. This is known as the IMRD format. This will be an abstract, which is followed by an introduction, methods, results, and discussion. And these articles will contain lots of cross-references. They'll likely contain lots of tables and figures, as well as any supplementary material such as data sets and lab protocols or the materials and methods. And what this does is it makes them quite dense and complex pieces of material. So being able to effectively understand them and extract the relevant information is of course a matter of practice. You've got to do it lots to get good at it. And that's why I would encourage all of you, especially those in the first year, to really engage with the academic literature now. Use the sources of literature searching that I'm going to show you and start downloading articles. You might be interested in nanotechnology or drug delivery or materials science and engineering. Download some research articles in those fields and become comfortable with how they're written, how they're laid out, and how you can think about critically reviewing them. And the intriguing thing is about these papers or these articles is that often they don't necessarily need to be read in a linear fashion, i.e. from beginning to end, but they can be read in more of a strategic manner with a critical mindset. The aim is for you to get a research article and really question the findings and conclusions of a research article, but also question any claims and results that the authors make. So this goes back to that common IMRD format. There will obviously always be a title of a journal article, which will be short and succinct, and it should be eye-catching. This will immediately tell you whether or not you're interested in this article, so whether or not you wish to read it and potentially reference it in your work. The introduction will introduce any past work and who it was done by, and this will be in the form of a cross-reference. It will comment on their work and mention why it was important. It will also comment on what's planned in the article you're reading and why it's important in the context of the wider field. There will always be a very highly detailed materials and methods section, and essentially here the authors are telling us how they did what they did and where they did it. The results section will show you data, often in the form of graphs and tables, and the discussion section will interpret that data and analyse that data and try and relate that back to the objectives of the initial paper. So in this tutorial, I would like you to download a research article that you are interested in, and it can be in any field of chemistry or materials science and engineering or physics, whatever you're interested in. Download a paper and have a read of it. What I would like you to try and do is deconstruct and critically review that article. Now, don't panic if you don't understand the article. There are fields of chemistry that I would not understand because some of these are very niche texts, but try and find something that you're interested in. There is a pro forma that's associated with this tutorial for you to complete, and there are some questions that I would like you to fill out. So how do you approach reading one of these articles? Well, the first thing that you do is that you skim the article. The idea here is to get that big picture. You're going to read the title. There will often be keywords associated with each article, and you can normally find these under the abstract. And you're going to read the abstract fairly carefully at this point. Now, the abstract is a very short piece that is written at the start of a journal article, and it essentially gives you a very brief summary of the major findings and why they matter. Moving on then, very quickly scan through the article. There's no need to take notes at this point. Focus on headings and subheadings. Crucially, note the publishing date. We want to avoid referencing things from 1926 if we can, right? We're chemists. We're interested in what's happening in the field now. So current research will be more relevant. Note any terms and parts that you don't understand. So you might want to just jot down anything that you don't understand for further reading. Secondly, now you're going to reread the article. So here is where you start to critically analyse the article. What problem is the particular study trying to solve? If you found something on the delivery of an anti-cancer agent, is the study addressing a specific problem? Are the findings of this study supported by the evidence? Are the findings new? Can you find any other research work that is similar? Do you think the study is repeatable? And what factors might affect the results should you need to repeat this in the laboratory? And at this point, if you're unfamiliar with any of the key concepts, then look them up in the literature. Thirdly, now is the time for interpretation. So have a look at all the graphs and tables very carefully. Have a go at interpreting data first before reading the captions. Look at a graph, look at the axis, try and interpret the data and see what the relationships are. When reading the discussion and results then, look for any key issues and new findings and ensure that you've distinguished those new points. If not, go back over the text again, take it at your leisure. Finally, summarise. So this time, take notes, as this will help you to remember key points. If you've got a printed version on a piece of paper, then just use a highlighter and highlight the article. If not, make use of Adobe PDF Reader and highlight or make comments as you see fit. Okay, now I'm going to show you a short video which is designed to show you some ways in which you can search for scientific literature. Finally, I'm going to show you a short video which is designed to show you some ways in which you can cite and reference scientific literature. Please do take a look at all of the other YouTube videos associated with this key skills tutorial because they support this short video. Okay, there are a number of ways that you can search for academic literature for your lab reports, for your coursework, and for your final dissertation. A good place to look initially is the University of Chester Library. So you're going to go to the University of Chester portal page, sign in with your credentials, and head to this library search. Now I'm going to show you 3 different ways of searching for academic literature, and I'm going to pick 3 topics at random. So let's assume that I want to find some academic literature that relates to tin oxide for this first example. So I can search for tin oxide in the University of Chester library, and it brings up every single article and textbook that the University of Chester library holds. So let's imagine that I find one that I'm interested in, this one here. I can click on that, and the university will take me to that source, and I just have to sign in once again. And I'm signed in now, and I can view this research article should I wish. So I can just open a PDF here, and I can view that research article, and you can see that this particular research article was published in Advanced Materials, and I can reference that in my report. If I read through and I find something that's relevant for my report, I can reference that. So the first way then is to make use of the University of Chester library. The second is another search engine that is used for academic literature, and it's called Science Direct. So if you Google Science Direct and you head to this first tab here, I can Google things that I'm interested in. So for example, I can I can search Science Direct via the keyword. I can search via the author name, the journal, or the book title, and I can increase the specificity of my search if I really know the reference that I'm looking for. But here I'm just going to imagine that I'm interested in the tensile strength of steel. So let's search in Science Direct for articles that relate to the tensile strength of steel. Now let's imagine that I'm interested in this particular research article here. I click on the research article, and if I want to read this research article, I may have to get access. So I can get access to that via the institutional login tab here. So I can click on the institutional login tab, and I can type in Chester, and it comes up with the University of Chester. I can then opt to sign in via my institution, and now I've signed in via the University of Chester, I can download that PDF and I can read it, see if it has any relevance to my report or my coursework, and I can cite accordingly. So the final place, and there are others, but these are the main ones that I use, is Google Scholar. So I can go into Google Scholar, and I'm going to pick a third topic here. Let's imagine that I'm interested in cisplatin drug delivery. And cisplatin is an anti-cancer drug. And let's imagine that this is the paper that I want, and I'm interested in either maybe for coursework or my dissertation. I can click on this paper. Once again, you'll see that I don't have immediate access to the article. It's asking me if I want to buy the article. Of course, we don't want to do that, so I can log in using my institutional credentials. So I click on this tab here, and I select the group that my institution belongs to. And we're a UK university, so we come right the way down in this drop-down menu to UK Federation. And if you scroll all the way down this list, there are all the universities in the United Kingdom. I click on the University of Chester, and I am now able to view this article, to download this article, read it and see if it has any relevance to my report. So once we've found a reference that we like the look of, we may wish to cite it. Now of course you can cite these things manually in Word. You can write out your reference list manually in Word, and you can even use the citation tool in Word, but a far more effective way of managing your reference library, your articles, your textbooks, and citing them in Word is to use a program called EndNote. And you have access to this through the university. So if I open the EndNote app and I begin a new reference library, so File, New Reference Library, and I call this, let's call it Chemistry References. This will start then for me a brand new library. So here's my chemistry reference library, and at the moment there's nothing in it. Let's go back to the last reference that we looked at, which was this cisplatin drug delivery. It doesn't matter what it's for, but maybe I want to cite that. Now what I can do is I can go to this section here and I can download the citation. So I'm using EndNote, so I'm going to click on EndNote, go. And that will download the reference for me. If I open that, then it will automatically open in EndNote and it will add it to that library. So I've now got one reference in my EndNote library. The clever thing about that then is if I open up Microsoft Word and I'm starting my coursework and I would like to reference that journal article that I've just imported into EndNote, I can start by saying cisplatin is an anti-cancer agent. I may wish to put a reference there. So I go back to EndNote, I highlight the article in question, and I then go back to Word and click on the EndNote tab up here. I then click on this Insert Citation tab and Insert Selected Citation. And it automatically puts the reference into my Word document, and if I add more it will reference them appropriately and create a reference list for me. Crucially, I can change the referencing style, so at the moment this is in APA referencing format, but I may wish to change that. Let's say I want to change that to Harvard referencing format. It will change it automatically for me. Now if I can't download a citation, that doesn't matter, so let's go back to the Science Direct article that we looked at a moment ago. See if we can get access to that again. So there it is, steel tensile strength, and it was this article here, and because I'm already logged in I have access to that. What I can do is, let's assume that I can't download the reference. You can in Science Direct, but I can add a reference manually. So it's asking me to put the author in, so I'm not going to put all of the authors in, I'm just going to very quickly put the first name, but of course you should put all of the authors in. It's asking me to put the year that it was published in, well that was 2020. The title, which I can just simply copy and paste here. The journal, which is the Journal of Alloys and Compounds. The volume, which I can see here, is 842. The issue number, it doesn't appear like there's an issue number with this journal, so no worries there. And the pages, well the first page of this article is here, 155856. And all I've got to do then is hit Control S and it will automatically save that reference for me, just like it did when I imported one a moment ago. And then of course I can highlight the reference, and I can highlight the section that I want to put it in, come back to this EndNote tab, insert insert selected citation, and it will insert it for me. Again, this is in Harvard, and I can change the referencing style if I wish. There are some more good examples of YouTube videos on how to use EndNote. This was only a very quick example. Please check those out as part of this tutorial.